We are going to see. That's what the leadership training will be about. Well, anyway, guys,
I gotta say, hot to handle, too cold to hold. Sorry, bye.
Too cold to hold, right? I hear you. Well, good morning, everybody. Again, good afternoon. I am really excited about being here on Flight School. April 1st, I get a chance on Saturday to kick off the month, and you know, I do want to say congratulations to the field. We had Accelerate this month, early this month, and you know, coming from Accelerate, there were some expectations, and you know, about a great deal of the training was actually me on stage, and there was a purpose behind that. It wasn't because we don't have great speakers, trainers, diamonds. We do. We've got some incredible ones. As a matter of fact, when most of them found out that I was going to be doing quite a bit of training, they actually even encouraged it. Hey, HB, we want to hear more from you. We want to hear more from you. And we did that. And one of the purposes was, as we're moving in what I call great direction, and we're moving in great direction right now as a company. One of the things that was really important to me is really setting a foundation for us being on the same sheet of music, us being on the same page as a company. And I think that that was the beginning of it. There's a lot more work to do. We've got incredible leaders, enthusiastic ambassadors out there who are building and sponsoring and selling and doing everything that they're supposed to do, which is awesome. And I love that. And they're continuing to, you know, align things in order so that the system actually drives the success of your business. And that's really what you want. You want the majority of your business driven by the system. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about system. One of the things that I committed to the Diamonds, and I committed to you, is that you'll be seeing a little bit more of me, even through flight school. So sometimes we'll announce it well in advance. Sometimes it'll be a very short announcement, but I at least plan to show up some kind of way, whether it's in part or whether it's to do a full training, at least once a month. I'll be coming in on Flight School. I'll be listening in often, but I'm talking about making an appearance on Flight School, sharing some nuggets, sharing some wisdom that I believe the field can benefit from. I can tell you this, there are some things that we're working on as a company right now that at the next event that we will, there's a 99% chance that we will launch it. It will be ready. That I don't know right now if anybody else has it, but there's something that we're going to launch as a tool that I believe, and I know, I'll put it this way, I know this in advance, that the way you are operating your business now and the results that you're having at this moment, I can tell you that I certainly believe that you have the ability to 10x your results 90 days from the time that we deliver it, okay? And I say that with all sincerity. Obviously, you don't see any hype in my voice. I get excited, but I'm not the hype man at all. But, and so if you're following a lot of what I'm teaching right now, you will be on par. You will be caught up if you're doing the things that I am suggesting. And if you're just kind of winging it, you'll still be able to grow your business. You'll have a little bit of catch-up time that you'll have to do. But my goal, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't design a company for just what I call to just sustain. My name, who I am, everything about me has to do with acceleration, has to do with growth. And growth is critical. It's very important to me, and we are growing. Our customer base now is growing. Our ambassador base is growing. I want to grow our ambassador base a lot more, and we actually are seeing that grow as well. But I'm talking about exceptional growth, explosive growth. Our retention is something that I'm focusing on as well. And so when we release some of the stuff that we're going to release, you'll see, wow, this really makes sense. This is so simple, And you'll notice that the work that you're doing will be multiplied. It will be multiplied. And so I'm really, really, really excited about it. T. Gray and Mark and Anna had a chance to have a little sneak peek as we last week, as we were introducing it a little bit and showing kind of some of the things. And T. Gray is putting some of the things in it from an operations standpoint. Mark is looking at it as well, and we're fixing some of these things up. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really, really excited. I'll be getting with the your Black Diamonds. So I won't tell you when, so that way you don't be bugging them, asking them, well, what is it? I'll be getting with the Black Diamonds and kind of sharing with them very soon, what we're talking about, because we want them and our Blue Diamonds and above as well as all of our diamonds to be totally prepared, so that when we actually do launch, we are all in sync, and just watch what happens. What I've done is I looked at and I took a look at how did HB build the business, and I ask a lot of questions to people about, if I had your group, if the only difference between the group that you have right now and it was that I was the leader in that group, I was orchestrating, I was calling the plays. Take your group right now, no matter how small, no matter how big. And I want you to imagine that you're able to say, let me take HB's brain and put it in my group. Let's just say that you had something called HBAI, okay? And I was able to be in your group, and I was able to orchestrate everything that was going on in your group based off of how I actually build the business. And I think I've done pretty good at building network marketing, as a distributor. What do you think? Do you think your group would be smaller than it is right now? Or do you think your group would be a little larger? Do you think you'd have more distributors in your group? Do you think you'd have many more customers in your organization? Do you think you'd have bigger belief in your organization? Okay. Do you think you'd have higher retention in your organization? Do you think you'd have more rank achievements? Do you think you'd have much bigger checks in your organization? And so for years, we've been thinking of how do we actually do that? How do we really, really, really come by and get that done? And we now, we have some ways and some things that we're working on that will be able to do it without removing you from the equation. The goal is not to replace you. The goal is so that you understand and have a system by which you can take what it is that you do and think differently about your business. Okay, think differently about your business. And would it grow? Of course it would grow. Why would it grow? Because my experience of over 30 plus years of being in the field and developing leaders and building an organization, to the millions in terms of distributors that I've had in my organization, it came with what I call conscious competence. As you've heard me talk about it, maybe I've talked about it only from a leadership training standpoint. There's 4 levels of knowing or consciousness that we have. That first level is what we call unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence, okay? So what is unconscious incompetence? Let's take a look at the word. Unconscious means not aware. It means unconscious. I'm completely unconscious. When somebody's unconscious or gets knocked out, their faculties are not there. That means that they are not aware of their existence at that moment. So unconscious incompetence. Incompetence means that I don't know how. Incompetent. I don't know how. So unconscious incompetence means I don't even know that I don't know how. Okay. And that's one level And a lot of people operate from that level. And one of the reasons that they operate from unconscious incompetence is because they have very little exposure, okay? And one of the things I can tell you is unconscious incompetence is one of the biggest causes of small bank accounts. It's one of the biggest causes of success that never ever develops, okay? Or unachieved goals, unattainable goals, not unattainable, but unachieved goals, unrealized dreams. Why? And to give you another example of unconscious incompetence, let's just imagine that you grew up in a very small little village, right? And in your village, there was no such thing as cars. All right, there was no cars whatsoever. Everybody, everywhere that you went in this village, you went either by an animal, maybe a horse, buggy, or whatever it may have been. And the next thing you know, we start giving you quizzes. We give you a driving test, okay? Some kind of way we give you a driving test to get a driver's license. You don't even have a concept that driving exists. You don't have a concept that cars even exist. And so when we give you the test, it's like a foreign language to you because you don't even know that you don't know. Now, let's just say all around you in other parts of the world, there's vehicles. But in your little village where you grew up, there were no cars, there were no roads, there were no street signs, there were no street lights, no automobiles whatsoever. There was only transportation by walking, boat, or transportation by animal. And so I want you to imagine somebody coming and giving you a driving test. Now, many of you couldn't pass a driving test, even though you live in a metropolitan area, right? But I want you to imagine you never, ever even you never saw a car, which means that you couldn't even imagine what a car looks like because nobody talks about it. See, that is called unconscious incompetence. I don't even know that I don't know. And unconscious incompetence, you can translate it to so many different things in your life. You can translate it from, as I mentioned, from an automobile. You can translate it to science. There's certain scientific things that you don't know about, that you don't even know that you don't know. You can translate it to this business in terms of knowledge of how to build a business because you've never done it before, never seen it before. You don't even know that you don't know. You can translate it to sports. You can translate it to relationships. You can translate it to anything that has to do with knowing. And in our business, a lot of us suffer from unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence. And what that does is that it allows you to only focus on the small little pieces of information that you know. Now, with the small pieces of information that you know, you start to feel so confident about the little that you do know that you're so unaware of the size of information that's available that you don't know. And being in that little box, being in that little circle of knowledge and information that you have, it gets you stuck. I tell people all the time that one of the biggest bank accounts that you'll ever have is that bank account of money and success that you never achieved because of the things that you didn't even know that you didn't know. And that bank account is so huge because all of the knowledge that you do know, if you can imagine this, I want you to put up a little circle here, okay? Just like this. And I want you to look at that circle and say, all that I know and all that I even think that I know resides in the size of this circle right here, because this is the truth. All that I know and all that I think I know is inside this circle. Now, I want you to look at how small this circle is in comparison to what information is on the outside of the circle. And see, everything on the outside of the circle are things that you don't know. And many of those things are things that you don't even know that you don't know. Why? Because we live in such a small circle, and that becomes our information source. As Napoleon Hill talks about it, he talks about accurate thinking. Accurate thinking. And so sometimes when your information source is so small, we have thought processes, but they're inaccurate. Just because we think it, it doesn't mean that it's the right thoughts. So what I want to do right now is train you on how to process your thought, train your thought process so that you can understand how to move mountains when it comes to your business or whatever it may be, okay? How to move those mountains. So when we look at it, unconscious incompetence. And remember, all that I know and all that I think I know is right here. But all that I don't know, that I'm not even aware that exists, is all out here in this atmosphere, okay? All out here in this atmosphere. So let's begin with that. Unconscious incompetence then goes from unconscious competence. Well, what is unconscious, or I'm sorry, from conscious incompetence? What is conscious incompetence? Conscious incompetence is the beginning point of becoming a producer, because conscious incompetence simply means I now know that I don't know. It means that you're putting yourself in an environment of things that you didn't even know before, and now you're becoming aware that I had no knowledge that this existed. It means that you are now aware. And remember, people only change there's 3 steps in order to change. 3 steps. The first one is called awareness. I am now conscious and I am aware of the things I do not know. Okay? I'm conscious and aware of things that I don't know. Things that I don't know. You must become aware. If you've ever been in a shopping mall, or maybe you've been at a theme park, and it's your first time there, and you don't know where to go, typically they give you a map, all right? I want you to imagine going to a big theme park like Disney World or Busch Gardens or, just any particular large theme park, Disneyland. And I want you to imagine that you get in there and this theme park may be about, 500 square miles in terms of land, in terms of all the things from parking lots to rides or whatever it may be. And they didn't give you a map. And there were no markers. How would you get to your favorite ride? How would you go see Mickey Mouse? How would you go and get to, the small world? How would you go get to this space shuttle ride or whatever it is? It will be very difficult. Why? Because you're in a world of unconscious incompetence. You don't even know where you are in relation to the next piece. So in network marketing and in Ibüümerang, what we do is when you get involved, we give you a map. The map is the game plan. The map is the strategy of how to build a business to the sapphire level. We've given everyone a map. See, when you get in and don't know, when you get involved in Ibüümerang and no one has told you the comp plan, you don't know how much, you don't know anything, it's more difficult to achieve it because you're not even aware of where you are in relation to where you need to go. So this is why when you're at a theme park, there is a map, or there is a bulletin board that you go to, and the most important part of that bulletin, there's a red circle that says you are here. You are here. You are here is synonymous with becoming aware. You need to know where you are. I need to know where I am in the knowledge base when it comes to building the business. I need to know where I am in my level of incompetency. So now I'm consciously incompetent. I know where I am. I know where I am. Sapphires, 15,000 and 14,000 in volume. You know what? I am at 2,000 in volume. It requires 2 on my right, 2 on my left who are qualified. I only have 1. I know where I am. I know where I am. So I don't want you to feel bad about being consciously incompetent. because consciously incompetent mix or multiply times motivation times a big dream equals a future diamond. Consciously incompetent, if you mix it or multiply it times low motivation, even with the big dream, equals someone who's unpredictable, and we know success is not going to happen in a major way. But when you take conscious incompetence, multiply it times motivation, multiply it times a big dream or a goal, that means that the person here is so motivated to learn what it is that they need to do. They're motivated to learn the competency part, and they've got a big dream, which means that they're going to have consistency in that learning mode, so that the big dream actually does become accomplished. So don't get fearful, or don't get upset, or don't look at it whereas I'm consciously incompetent, I don't know what to do. It's okay. When it came to trading, in the very beginning, if you take 2.5 years ago, I was unconsciously incompetent about Forex. I knew nothing about Forex whatsoever. All I knew is that there was a 4 and that there was an X in Forex. That is all I knew. And unconscious incompetent typically paralyzes the person who doesn't have strong ambition. Why? Because they say, I don't even know what I don't know, and I'm not motivated to even find out what I don't know. This is why the motivation part is very important. I must be motivated. There's got to be a motive behind me breaking the chains of unconsciousness, okay? And so now I get to conscious incompetence, multiplied times motivation, multiplied times a big dream, equals a future diamond. A future diamond, all right? So now I'm aware. I look at the billboard or this little bulletin board here. It says, you are here. The next step is that it identifies where you want to go. And it tells you, if you want to go to the small world, let's say we're at Disney World, it shows you where you are, but it also shows you where where the small world is. Okay, and from the small world, you know, okay, you've got this much distance to get there. So now you can develop a plan to get from where you are to the small world. Actually, let's say from the small world, because who wants to go to a small world? We all are here and wanting to be a part of a big world. So let's say you want to go from the small world and you want to, I forgot the huge ride that they have over there, which is pretty cool. So we go from the small world to this particular, Jurassic Park zone that they have over there, right? And you go from here to Jurassic Park area. You know now what's the game plan, how far it is, and you can develop a plan. And so the second stage of change, first one is awareness, second stage is acceptance. Acceptance. I may be aware that I became aware that the reason I'm not growing is because I don't have the proper social skills. I may not be growing because I am a poor communicator of vision. I may not be growing because my knowledge, the basic knowledge of the business, I haven't grasped that. I may not be growing because I don't know how to handle objections. Okay. Whatever those reasons are, I may not be growing. I now am aware of where I am. Next thing I have to do is accept it. I must accept it. I am not growing. Why am I not growing? Hey, listen, HP, you're not following the system. Well, what do you mean? You're out here doing XYZ. The system says do this. You know where you are now. Why? You've gotten counseling I'm sharing with you, you're not following the system. It's going to be up to you to say, okay, I'm now going to follow the system because I am conscious of my incompetence. I am aware. I must accept it. And the third step, in order for people to change, to go from conscious incompetence to conscious competence, is going to be reconditioning. First step is awareness. Second step is acceptance. I must accept the fact that I didn't know. I was aware that I was unconsciously incompetent about Forex. But because I am a motivated person and I've got a huge dream, the first thing that I did is say, let me dive in. Do you know that was the most uncomfortable thing, to go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence and dive right on in? But what I realized is the things that are most uncomfortable for me are the places that I need to visit the most, because most of us want to stay in our comfort zone. Well, I'm not good at trading because I'm not good at numbers. None of us, or most of us, weren't born just good at it. We practiced. And many people make the excuse as to why I can't trade. No, you're not motivated. We've got all age ranges now, from 11-year-olds to 80-year-olds who are making pips and making profit like crazy. So there's no excuse. If you have a dream, if you are motivated, we have the knowledge. You can go out there and you can learn. It's just, what you're saying is, I don't have the motivation to change the way that I think so that I can do something different. I am stuck in my ways. Okay. So reconditioning takes place, which is the third step, reconditioning. Well, how do I recondition? By books, audios, and association. Recondition just simply means the changing of your mind. The changing of your mind. If you still have the same philosophies today as a 40-year-old that you had as a 30-year-old, 9 times out of 10, you're not very successful. Why? What I have learned is that my philosophies have changed along the way. Why? Because at 20, I was unconsciously incompetent about life. Why? Because of this circle here. This circle at 20 was much smaller than this. But at 20, I thought that I knew it all. I thought that I had all the answers. And so that little small world that I lived in kept me from having the success that I'm having at my present age today. I became 25, and you know what I realized? Wow, how dumb I was at 20. Wow, how dumb was I at 20? Right now, give me a comment in the chat here if you realize 5 years ago, the way that you thought 5 years ago was backwards. Okay? Put a 5 in the chat if you don't mind. Put a 5 in the chat if that's you. The way that you thought 5 years ago was backwards. Now, here's what I want to share with you. 5 years ago, okay, and I'm going to ask you if this applies, put a 1 in the chat. 5 years ago, did you think that the way that you were thinking was correct? Did you think that you had it all? Did you think that you had it? If that was you, put a 1 in the chat. Okay? So if you look at all of these 1s and all of these 5s, 5s mean that 5 years ago, they look back and they're like, wow, that was some of the dumbest thoughts I've ever made. I was wrong 5 years ago. But also 5 years ago, they thought that they were correct. And if you go 10 years ago, they thought that they were correct. And when they got to the next 5, which is 5 years ago, they realized how dumb they were 10 years ago. Okay. I remember some of the things that I would say from stage. I remember some of the advice that I would give. I remember the way that I looked at life. I remember the way that I looked at relationships. I remember the way I looked at friendships. I remember some of the things that I valued 5 years ago. And when I look at the value system that I had 5 years ago and how it is today, it's completely different. I have a son who's half my age. And I look at the value system that he has at 25, and then I look at the value system that I have at this age. It's different. I look at what he valued when he was 20 versus 25. I had a conversation last night about, my son, he just didn't value the things that me and his mother would try to teach him early on. We would always tell him how blessed he is to have the situation that he has when he was 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we would always tell him, listen, you're just very unappreciative. Recently, when he turned 25, he came and says, Dad, I didn't understand what you and Mom meant by how unappreciative I was. When y'all would say that, I just look at y'all like, what are they talking about? I do appreciate them. He says, so basically he was admitting he was unconsciously incompetent on how to show appreciation. He says, I just figured y'all were the meanest people when y'all would say how I don't appreciate it. And here's when he learned it. I said, well, why are you saying it now? He said, well, I've got someone that I'm close to, and there's some things that I'm doing for this person, and I now know what it feels like to not be appreciated because this person shows no appreciation for the things that I'm doing for them. He said, I finally get it. He says, what I'm looking at through this person, that's the person I was when you guys were telling me how I don't appreciate anything. And every day that I talk to my son now, he tells me how much he appreciates me. Why? Because he knows what he didn't know back then, and he has reconditioned his mind to understand what appreciation is. And that's one example. And so reconditioning just means that it's the changing of your mind, okay? The changing of your mind. Air conditioning, the changing of the air. And if it's important to change the air because the air that we have in here can go stale, do you think that your thoughts can go stale? Do you think your beliefs can get old? Do you think that it may be the wrong beliefs for an older person? Absolutely. And so that's why you turn on the air conditioning. And sometimes we have to turn on the thought conditioning. How do you do it? You do it through books, tapes, events, and positive association. Many of the diamonds had their minds renewed from the leadership training that we did. They were reconditioned. Some of you can call it programming. It's okay. All of us are programmed. So don't get on this kick of, well, he's just talking about brainwashing. Many of our brains need to be washed. Okay. Many of our brains are actually full of garbage and junk. And we need to wash that brain out and put new information, clean information, success information, thought-provoking information, inspirational information, success information, so that we can move in those particular directions, okay? So what I'm doing here is just setting a foundation so you understand how to utilize the information I'm gonna share with you. It's no good for me to give you all of the information and not give you the manual. Many of you, if you remember, would buy televisions, and way back in the day, you buy these VCRs and you wanted to program it. Well, you'd have to read the manual. Right now, you know, when you buy things and buy, you know, maybe a bookshelf or something like that, there's a manual that comes that says, here's a step-by-step way. What good is it to you for you to have the bookshelf if you don't know how to put it together? Okay. So I'm giving you this so that you'll understand the thought process and start understanding that when people have more experience in this business than you have, more successful experience, it means that you probably should listen to them. And no matter what level you get to, we all have the thought process that we know it. We all have the thought process that what we're doing is we're doing it correctly or we're doing it right. I can tell you right now, after all the success that I've had in building network marketing, I am more excited now of being a student. You know, I'm more excited now of being a student than I ever have before. You know, today it's NFT week here in Miami. I'm more excited about listening to the speakers that's going to be speaking and learning some new information than I am about now teaching. Well, before in my career, I was more excited about getting on stage and showing everyone how much I knew. Today, I realize I don't even know enough. Don't know enough. And so I constantly stay in an area of learning. I constantly stay in an area of learning. I had a chance to be you know, in Vegas recently, and I sat and I listened. Every day I'm on a podcast. Every day I'm listening to people who have more knowledge than I do in a certain area, and I'm gaining that wisdom. The biggest thing that I've learned is where to learn from. Okay. I thought that the places that I used to learn from was the best places. And now I realize where to learn from, how to even find information, how to actually get to the source of truth in certain information. And so it's become more liberating that I'm more fascinated now by learning, whereas I used to be more fascinated by teaching. Okay. Why? Because I was unconscious, incompetent about certain aspects of life. And the more I go through, the more I start to learn, okay, wow, let me develop a life of learning versus a life of knowing. All right. And what I realized is that I'm more empowered, I'm happier, I'm more motivated, and I'm more effective, and I waste less time. I waste less time. I'm more efficient and effective with my time. So those are the three aspects of changing: awareness, acceptance, and then reconditioning. So now that takes us back to where? It takes us back to conscious incompetence. So now if I'm conscious that I don't know, I now have gone through, I have those 3 steps that I must go through in order to become consciously competent. When you take that step, the next step, and go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, conscious means I know, conscious means knowing, I'm aware. I am aware that I don't know. The next step we want to go to is conscious competence. That means I know that I know. That means that I can perform, I can do it, okay? When it comes to network marketing, when it comes to building a network marketing business, I am unconsciously competent as well as consciously competent. Let me explain. Okay. So consciously competent means that I do know what I am doing. I do know what I'm doing. Okay. And I know how to get a result. I know cause and effect. I know how to make something out. I know how to make something big out of something small. I know what those steps are. Why? Because I've gone through these stages of learning. Unconscious competence, there's 2 parts of unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence is a person who knows how to go out there and perform. They're gifted, but they can't teach it. They don't know. They just know how to do it. Okay. If you ever remember the movie, what was the movie with Nick Cannon when he was in the band? Drumline, okay? If you ever guys saw the movie Drumline, this is a perfect example of unconscious competence. Nick Cannon was a very talented and gifted person who had the ability to hear a certain cadence of beat and replicate it to the T with perfection, but he couldn't read music. He got exposed when he had to read music. He was the best drummer that they had, but he couldn't read music, okay? And so what do I mean by unconscious incompetent? That he didn't even know how he was so good. He didn't even know it. He was just gifted. Some people are able to perform, but they can't even come back to you and explain it. That's one level of unconscious competence. But the other level of unconscious competence is when you are so good, you don't even have to think. Your body just does it, okay? Your body just does it. You've done it over and 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 over. How many of you remember when Michael Jordan was playing basketball and he'd hit shot after shot and he'd just come down and take over the game and they'd say, he's unconscious. He's unconscious. It didn't mean that he didn't know. It meant that he's in a zone that he doesn't even have to think about it. It's like driving to work. Think about it. Driving to work. Most of you, if you drive to work at a certain place, you don't even have to think of making a right-hand turn or making a left-hand turn. You don't read the street signs every time you go. You're unconsciously competent about getting to work, that your hands just know to turn to the left or turn to the right and you'll end up at work. When you first was driving there, your first week, you know what you did? You put your GPS on or you read the street signs and you paid attention to all of the landmarks that were there. But when you've done it over and 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 over again and over 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 again, you just play. You just drive and you get there. Oftentimes we're in the office and Mark will say, hey, how do you do that? How do you remember that? How do you know that? And it's not that I have genius, and maybe it is. And let me share with you what the genius part is. Genius is not the ability that I have that's much greater than anybody else's. Genius comes from a constant state of repetition to where you can actually perform it and not even think about it. That's really what genius is. People work their way into genius. You're not born a genius. You rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse to the point that you can do it and not think about it. I can come up and you know, I can come up and I could do any aspect of network marketing. You can wake me up out of my bed in 2 minutes. Wake me up out of my bed at 2 a.m. in the morning from a deep sleep. And I never even have to think about it. I can perform. I can train on anything. Give me a subject matter. I don't need time. I don't need 5 minutes to get my thoughts together. I don't need 2 minutes to get my thoughts together. I can be on stage. Somebody can give me a subject and say, hey, train on this for 2 hours, and I can go 6 hours. Why? Because I've done it over and 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 over. And I can do it to the point where a person will think, wow, he must have really prepared to deliver this presentation. I did. I've been preparing for the last 30 plus years, okay? So we want you to get to that level of unconscious competence. Some of you will do it because you're gifted. Some of you do it because of the repetition and you get into your zone. When it comes to network marketing, I can perform at the unconscious competence level of just doing it because I've taught it over and over and over and over and over. And the things that you hear me teach, anybody who's been around me for a long time or know someone who was a part of my group, go check their journals. It's almost verbatim the things that I will say today that I said 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 18 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it may have been, okay? It's almost verbatim because it's over and 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 over. Why? because successful people get good at things that are boring. I rehearsed them over and over and over because I want it to be great. I want it to be excellent. I didn't want to just be a top earner in this industry. When I set my goal, I wanted to do the best that I could do. And I just knew that very few people were going to compete with my best. So I never set out to be better than anybody else. I just knew that my best is one of the best that's out there. And if I go ahead and focus on becoming my best, everybody else who focuses on becoming their best won't compete with my best. So I'd never have to compete with them. Okay. And that was my motivation. And so I always would keep myself, I competed with myself, the guy who was 10 years older than me. When I turned 40, I remember talking about, and I would describe this guy that I wanted to become. And I described his habits, and I described his beliefs, and I described his thought process and his philosophies. I described the nature of his relationships and how he communicated and all of these things. And I had this big picture that I would paint, this nice vision board of the guy that I admired so much. And it was me of who I am today. I programmed me to be who I am today. And the guy who I was at 40, I made sure that was the guy you start chasing. Don't compete with another company. Don't compete with your cross line. Why? You don't know if your cross line only needs 100 grand a month. Why in the hell am I going to compete with somebody who's making 100 grand a month? What can I do with that? Looking to be great. But I knew that guy who was 10 years older than me, I knew that this guy had a dream. I knew what type of money he needed to accomplish his purpose. And so that's why I only competed with him. And anytime I measured myself, I looked at this guy and I measured my current self against this guy, that guy who's so what does that mean? I'm always constantly chasing improvement. The guy I'm chasing now, he has much more experience than I have. How old is he? Well, you know what? Everybody knows that when I turned 50, I said, you know what? Age is no longer a concept that I'm going to buy into the perception of from a time perspective. So how old is he? I have no idea. But I know he's wiser than I am. I know he's more experienced than I am. I know that the things that I'm thinking of right now, he's made so many adjustments to how I live today. I'm so excited to catch up with him so that I can learn what I don't know today. And that's what allows life to continue to be exciting. Life becomes pretty sad when you have nothing to look forward to. When you figure that the way that you think is correct and that there's no correction needed, that there's no new input that's needed, you're done. This is why Benjamin Franklin says most men die, okay, at the age of 25. Sadly, they're not buried until 65. Because at the age of 25 is when most people say, you know what, there's no need for personal development. I don't need to learn anything new. I'm 25 years old. I've gone to school, I've finished school, I've had parents, I even have kids. Everything there is to know about life, I know the majority of it. It's not too much more that I need to know. And this is why most people don't pick up a book. This is why most people don't listen to a tape. This is why most people won't sign up for a convention. This is why most people won't jump on flight school, because they figure everything I need to know about achieving my goals, I think I know it. And they don't, okay? And they don't know it. So as we move from there, this allows you to know that all of the things that we're laying out is in preparation for the launch of some new stuff that we're going to launch in Alaska, okay, for our next convention, our next event. But I can tell you, it's going to 10x you. So right now you have the opportunity to prepare yourself so that your group, so that you start with a group that's already in sync. Okay, you have an advantage right now over the people who will be joining at that moment. You got a huge advantage. And if I were you, I would actually take that advantage and use it and learn the system, learn what we're doing, understand the system, know how to build the business, understand the philosophies behind things. And I'll tell you one, let me give you one philosophy I'll share with you. Okay, because you're going to hear me say some things and you're going to think, well, you know what, this doesn't work for me. No, you just don't have the knowledge of why it even exists. You're unconsciously incompetent. When new information makes you uncomfortable, it means that you're so stuck in your little circle that everything on the outside, you've not even taken the time to understand that there's some answers out here that solves all of these problems. But because it jeopardizes your comfort zone, you won't take the eye off the circle, this circle here, to experience what's out here, okay? You won't take the eye off the circle to experience what's out there. So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about this, all right? So one of the things that you heard me talk about in at Accelerate, and I went through it pretty quickly. And today I'm going to share and train on one aspect of it. I'm going to train on the zones, but primarily the white zone. Okay, you heard me train on it, and here's what I want you to know: everything that I teach, there's a reason that I do it. And Ibüümerang and network marketing as a CEO, but also as a professional builder of network marketing organization, there's what I call cause and effect. Okay, there's cause and effect. And with cause and effect, there's certain things that I know that are a cause that will have a potential effect. Okay, it will have a potential effect. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means this. And here's a philosophy. I want you to write this down. Don't tear down the fences. Don't tear down the fences until you know why they were put up. Don't tear them down. Oh, HB said this, you know what, that doesn't work for me. Those are fences that you're tearing down, but you have no idea why I put them up. Okay. Everyone wants mentorship until it's time to be mentored. And it's like trading. Everyone wants to learn how to trade until it's time to make money, or until it's time to study. And most people want to trade, learn to trade so they can talk about trading. Most people want to know the verbiage. Most people want to know the nomenclature. I remember when I met Donnie for the first time on a Zoom here, and I was saying, he's like, yeah, man, we're on the same page. You know, and he's a far more educated, far more experienced trader, been doing it longer than I have. I took my accelerated course and I learned how to do it the way that I do it. But he'll tell you, most people, they're not trading to make money. They're trading so they can say, I'm a trader. So they can be a part of the conversation. Most people get mentored or have a mentor relationship so that they can use the relationship of mentor-mentee as a badge of honor. Oh, my mentor said, when's the last time you've been mentored? When's the last time y'all connected? Oh yeah, well, you know, I had a counseling session with them about 4 months ago, and you keep calling them your mentor? And that's how many of your uplines are feeling, guys, because you're calling your diamonds, your mentors and your coaches without getting the coaching. Without getting the coaching. I want you to imagine, you know, right now, maybe even in basketball, you know, I want you to imagine, you know, someone, like a Michael Jordan. I want you to imagine Michael Jordan not ever talking to the coach or talking to his coach once every 3 months. Oh, that's my coach there. Really? When was that? Oh, I saw him 3 months ago. I'm just going to get out here and play. The information he gave me 3 months ago, you know what, it applies today. So we're going to go out here and win this championship. Really? Really? How often y'all play games? Well, we play games every 3 days. How often y'all are practicing? Well, we practice, you know, at least 3 or 4 days a week, and we play games every 3 days as well. So let me ask you a question in network marketing. How often are you active? How often are you prospecting? Daily? Oh, okay, you're daily prospecting. So that means that you're practice in your business daily. Yeah. How often are you playing a game? I have a game every day. Every day there's an opportunity for me to present, sell a product, put somebody into the business. When's the last time you had coaching? Oh, 3 months ago. So you're gonna be in your basketball game, you're gonna practice, you're gonna play, but you're only gonna get coaching once every 3 months. How many championships do you think you will win? Okay. How many championships do you think you'll win? Not too many. Okay? Not too many. And so the thing I want you to understand is don't underestimate the power of being connected to your coach. Don't underestimate the power of what it is to be mentored, to have a coach. Okay? Because the only time you guys get together is when there's a catastrophe, when something bad has happened, or you need something from them. That's not a coaching and mentoring relationship. You're using their name as a badge. You're using their name to get your group to do what you want them to do. Would you be proud in front of your group for your coach to come and tell the truth to your group about how often you get coaching? If you had your group together, and let's just say you had all of your, maybe you had 25 people in your group, and all you've been doing is talking to them about who your coach is, and man, I'm getting mentored, I'm getting coaching, and convention after convention, you're not growing. And you're wondering why. You're wondering why. And then you bring in your upline, maybe your upline emerald, and they come talk to your group, and they come and say, hey, listen, man, Joe gets coaching about once a quarter. And man, it's a good coaching session. About once a quarter, I hear from Joe. And that information he's giving you guys, if he told you some stuff, yesterday, that was 90 days ago that we had a coaching session, about the business, and your upline's not trying to put you down, they're just telling the truth. Would you sit there and you'd be like, oh, don't say that. Don't let them know that I'm only in communication once a quarter. I'm pointing out things that are very small and basic as to why many of us don't move on. Okay. I can tell you when I was in my fastest growth mode, there was so much energy being expended 4, 5, 6 times a day. Why? Because I had so much going on. There were so many reasons for me to be connected. So many. It wasn't that I was calling every time, hey, I got an issue. No, it was, hey, man, listen, things are popping, man. I got this going on. And I was sharing what was going on. And through me sharing all of the good news, my coach had already experienced the growth that I experienced. So he already knew the mistakes that I was going to make. And he would listen to the things that I was telling him, and he would pay more attention to the things that I wasn't saying. Hey, well, you know what, HB, you said this. Have you ever thought about doing this? No, never thought about it. Why? Because I was in a mode of unconscious incompetence about the next level. He was already there. He was already there. And so he would be able to say, hey, you know what, maybe you do this. And it was just those small little adjustments, because when you're going so fast and you've got so much energy, and how did I go so fast? I went so fast because I was already in coaching mode when it was slow. I didn't say, let me wait until it gets good to start doing what's right. As a philosophy, I just made that connection and made sure, and most of them were 5-minute conversations whatever it may have been. It was more of, let me cultivate the relationship. I made sure that I earned it from a time basis. I wasn't going to waste his time. But he knew I was going to build something big. And guess what I did? I built something big. And so if you guys start to do that, I'm not saying call them up because, oh, it's time to make a phone call. No, there should be enough reasons. Do you have any reasons in your organization to share it with your upline? Or once those reasons have come and gone, then you'll tell them about what those reasons were. Yeah, man, we had a great one that came into the business about 4 months ago. I know I hadn't talked to you since then, but they got distracted and they're kind of on ice right now. Oh, okay, cool. I wonder will they be distracted if I knew about them at that time? If I had known about who to keep my eye on, because there would be certain questions that I'd be asking you. There's certain things that you probably didn't even know to do that probably could have been a reason for them to stay in the business. But that's that level of unconscious incompetence. You don't even know that you don't know. You don't even know that you don't know. You can each one of you can sit with me and you can share some things about a leader that you don't have in the business anymore. And I can share with you, you can tell me what their experiences were, and I can share with you some things. Hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Never thought about that. This is the reason why specifically young leaders, you want to stay in communication. I'm talking from the bottom up now. Okay. So those of you who are out there, if you're running, because your leaders have probably gotten with you, the diamonds have probably gotten with you after this event, you should be in communication in some form or fashion, whatever works for them. Okay. So when it comes to the zones, let's talk about the zones here real quick. All right. Let's talk about these zones. And I want to talk about one zone in white. Let's see if I have a little screen here that I can. What I need you to do is I want you to put a yes in the chat if what I'm saying makes sense. If me giving you the foundation of everything that I'm sharing before I even teach the zones, has this been beneficial to you? I really need to know. If it hasn't, be honest with me. Say, HB, no, hell no, you're so confusing. I don't know what you're talking about. You're off in La La Land. If that's the truth, then that's the truth. I just want to know because I want you to understand why I do what I do. Not just what to do. I don't want a robot. I want you to understand why it's important. I don't teach people just what to do. I teach them why they should do it. Why they should do it. Okay. Why should they do it? All right. Got a lot of comments here. All right, so I'm gonna read some of these comments before I get into this here real quick. Never did this before. Let me roll down here. Uh-oh, where are the comments? There we go. Yeah. So let's read some of these comments here. It's kind of like, when they do these lives, they go into the comments and stuff like that. So I'm gonna jump into the comments here. Let's see here. All right, Donnie Pip says, I speak to my coach Jack daily. Awesome, that's what you should be doing. She's a diamond. You are looking to get there, and having that communication, it creates that energy so you can get there. Lori Hood says, so grateful my leadership stayed plugged in and communicate daily from the top to bottom of the leadership ladder. Congratulations to you, Lori. Do it both ways. It should be communicating your team, communicating up to you. Now, remember, this is not communication for the sake of just saying, hey, I reached out today. It's communication so that you could have a bond, so that you start to think like them. All right, and we got a bunch of yeses here. Let me see here. A bunch of yeses, a bunch of ones in the chat there. Somebody says totally yes, 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 absolutely. Yes, yes, and yes, 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 yes. All right, absolutely. Let's see here. Just want to make sure there are any other comments there. Yes, understood. The reason you have the success. Okay, yes, it's the reason you have the success you have. That's right. Somebody else says, the honest truth is yes. Yes, a lot of things make so much more sense now. Thanks for breaking it down. Awesome. I always want to get clarification so that I know that you get what it is that I'm talking about, because I can get up here and train on the zones. If training on the zones was the only thing I needed to do, don't you think we just have the zones playing over and over and over and over and over? I'm going to share something with you here before I give you this training here. And just to let you know how it works, how training works. This is a deeper conversation, something that I'll even teach the diamonds, or I mean the rubies, the next time we do a ruby leadership, because most people train, but they don't know how to train. Okay. They don't know how to train. They give information, but don't know how to train. Great speakers, but don't know how to train. And there's depth to that. Yes, I need this early in the day to help put my mind where it needs to be to absorb and act. The best training yet. I appreciate you either way. Appreciate that you do it that way. Okay, great. Let's see here. Thank you. That made me understand where I may not be aware. I need assistance, and leadership knows how best to help me prevent the same hurdles and keep growing. You know, Maria, that's a great point that you make, because so often people do the same thing in this business, and it's like hitting your head up against the wall. It's not going to make the wall come down. It's going to make you bleed. Okay, it's going to make you bleed. Do something a little bit different. Okay. David Hunt is my coach, mentor, good friend too. So Karen, here's the question that you should have. If David Hunt comes to you in front of your group and say, how often you guys have some kind of level of communication, or how often you communicate back to him? Because remember, if David is the blue diamond, and I don't know what your rank is, let's just say that you're sapphire, ruby, whatever it may be, oftentimes he may not reciprocate as often as you're feeding information to him. I've got people who text me accountability stuff. I'm not responding to every message. Why? Because it's not a need to. I watch and look for a pattern. And once I see something out of pattern, or something that could change, or results that are then I say, hey, listen, let me ask you a question. I'm noticing that you're having a lot of no-shows. Have you considered your invite? Have you considered who you're talking to on your list? So they may get one response from me when they've given me 20. But there's communication that's going on. It's your job to communicate to them, and they'll pay attention. Okay. So would you be proud to tell your group for David to come to your group and say, hey, listen, you know, there's a communication channel that we have on a daily, week, whatever basis. Okay. That's what you want to work towards. You want to work towards that. I asked my leader to allow me to be accountable every day. Great. Okay. And here's the thing. Don't ask your leader. Leadership is taken. Okay. And what you do is this: be accountable to them. Send them a message. Say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, but before you give me a lot of your time, I'm going to be accountable to you. You'll be receiving text messages to me. Whether you respond or not has nothing to do with my level of commitment and work. If you see something in a pattern, I'd love for you to reach out and let me know. But my job is to communicate and be accountable to you. And then if you do that, watch what happens. We're always looking for somebody who's consistent. I don't waste my time on people who say, oh, I want to be mentored by you. Show me something first. What does it take to be mentored by me? People, well, HB, what does it take to be mentored by you? Figure it out. The fact that you're asking, you don't qualify it right now. Do your research. Find somebody who's being mentored by me and go ask them. Stop taking the lazy way out. Hey, listen, I know that you're being mentored, you know, by David Hunt, and I see you having some results. Let me ask you a question. What was a requirement for mentorship with him? Because I want to be in his line of sight. People want the easy way out, and I'm not going to give you the easy way out. Okay. I speak to Desi Lapova every day. The accountability has helped me massively. Awesome. I stopped reaching out to my mentor on a daily basis. Why? Okay. Why did you stop? Okay. Remember, their job is not to babysit you. Their job is not to have a conversation. They've got, remember, you've got the one upline. That one upline you got have many people in their group. Not their job to keep calling you back. It's your job to keep coming to them. You've got to earn it that way, okay? You've got to earn it that way. Think about it. Have you ever seen those movies or something like that where somebody wanted a record deal, somebody wanted a job really bad, and they said, hey, I'm going to come up here every day and put my application in? Did you quit because after 5 submissions of your application, they didn't call you back? It's not their job to call you back. It's your job to get their attention. So I want you to start understanding how to get the proper attention. This is why we know you'll be a diamond, because you have persistence enough where everybody else has quit. We already know, oh, we only have 2 people left that's being accountable, and they're consistent at doing it. I haven't spoken to them in 6 months. Somebody who's probably worth my time. At least I know I have somebody who's not a quitter. Okay. And I'm not calling you a quitter there. I'm just giving you an example of asking you, think about, why did you stop reaching out to them? How has it helped you? How has your business grown with you stop reaching out? Probably not much. Okay. This made me where I truly don't understand how to allow someone to lead me. You know what? I love when people are really honest. Okay. You know, I think that's Mrs. Green who said that. And some people don't know how to be led. Some people just don't know it. But now, guess what you are? You became aware today. And it seems like you are accepting it. Now, what's the third part? Reconditioning. Okay. Take a couple more of these comments here. I get on David Hunt's lives every morning. Had great accountability call with him last week. Great. Awesome. I feel it's being relentless and making adjustments, learning, staying hungry, understanding consistency wins with your mental growth and expansion. Really cool. I'm on phase 2, laugh out loud, consciously and competent. At least you know where you are. You're proving my point of knowing, hey, I'm consciously incompetent. I know that I don't know. I love that. That means that you let the ego go. Some people skip consciously incompetent because they never want to admit that they don't know. They always want to think that they know. And that's a dangerous spot. Where you are is a great spot. Definitely get enough reasons to connect with your mentor. Another one here, I'm guilty of not communicating with my mentor enough. I'm changing that. Thanks for the insightful training, okay? Because I didn't want to burden them with my problems. And you shouldn't. Don't burden anybody with your problems. Your problems are your problems. Become big enough to solve your problems. Go to them with challenges and possible solutions. Go to them with challenges and possible solutions and get agreement as to what the solution could be. Do not ever go to your upline with a problem that you want them to solve. Again, I'm taking the chicken way out. I'm going to be lazy. I want you, my upline, because you're more experienced. You solve all my problems. I don't want to do any work. Not saying that's you. I'm giving an example of how we look at people who come to us. Hey, I've got a problem. First of all, don't come to me with your problem. Come to me with a challenge. Hey, I've got a challenge that I'm eager to solve. Here is the issue, HB. Here are 3 possible solutions. I wanted to get your input as to whether these would work or whether you have other insight that could be productive. Which one do you think I want to invest my time into? The person who's coming to me saying, I got a problem. Or a person who's saying, I have a challenge, I have 3 possible solutions, but I'm not 100% on my own, certain of my own thinking. I'd love to have your input on my 3 solutions. And if you have something in addition, I'd love to hear it. Think about it. Who do you think I should invest my time into? Okay. And so that's the way you do it. Don't be lazy with your upline. Okay. Let me read the rest of that question here. I went somewhere. I didn't want to burden them with my problem. I thought this because they aren't a therapist. They are a mentor. I wanted to hide whilst I sorted out my headspace and worked it out with my therapist. So if there's therapy that you need, you're correct. Go to us and see a therapist. Now, specifically if it's professional help that you need, if there's just some insight that you have, and maybe seeing a therapist is something that you share with them. Hey, listen, here's a situation that I'm dealing with right now. based off of what I've shared with you, is this something that you think I should consult a therapist with? If so, do you have any recommendations? I've looked at 3 of them myself, and if you have some experience in this area, I'd love to know. If not, I'll move forward with these 3 candidates and evaluate which one's the best one. Don't put your mentor to work like a slave. You do the work. Let them do the easy lifting, the thinking. Let them do the easy thinking. Hold on. I've got to move here, guys, so I can get my charger here. Didn't plan to be on this long, but you know me. When I get going, I get going. So give me 1 second and let me get different place and let me get my charger. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Got juice now. Okie doke. Okay. So yeah, but don't be in a habit of making your abusing your upline and making them do all the work. What you do is come to them with what you have laid out and then let your upline use their brain to think through some of the challenges that you may have in your business. Okay. Someone says, I allow illness to get in the way of my daily accountability. Requalified at CEO Circle yet. I will do more to return to my daily accountability. Okay, of course, remember what we talked about. Of course, you take care of yourself, but remember what I talked about at the event. Every time you make a decision to do something great, there's 3 dream stealers that's going to come and visit you. One is going to be a health challenge, one is going to be relationship, and the other is going to be financial. One of the 3, 2 of the 3, or all 3 will always visit somebody who sets a big goal. I am not saying that you're using illness as an excuse. I want you to be aware of what's going to happen. And so when you look at it and look back right now, illness, okay, I had an illness. What could I have done? Was there something that I could have done still? And when you look back on it, typically you can find ways that you still could do it. Because I can do this subconsciously, for the last week, I had a bug that hit me, knocked me on my butt. I was out. Completely out. But because I'm used to this, I'm still able to perform and get things done. Why? Because I already know I've set some big goals for Ibüümerang. I know when I set those goals and say, here's what we're going to do. We're about to 10X. We're going to bring on some new stuff. I knew that I was inviting something to come and say, are you really serious about growing? Are you really serious about 10Xing your people's income? Are you really serious about getting that growth and those checks way up? We're going to see. Are you really serious about what you say your contribution is going to be? Yeah. So while I'm in bed, I'm still doing what I need to do. While I was sick, I was still finding ways to do what I needed to do. I'm not Superman, I'm not a hero, but I just automatically knew it was going to come. And I want you to know the same thing. It's always, always, always going to come. Having helped set up my mind for hearing and learning to be able to apply is excellent prior to you sharing those golden nuggets from you. All right, so now let's just go ahead and get right into it. I love the comments. I appreciate this. And hopefully this dialogue from some of the comments is helping you guys as well, because sometimes you don't have a chance to interact with me, and I don't have a chance often to hear a lot of what your individual concerns are. But I figured I'd do that for a few minutes on this call and just allow you guys to see a different side of things. Remember, it's not about me being right or me being wrong, okay? Or me being right and you being wrong. What this is about is I have experience, and there's not one issue on this list here that any person has gone through that I haven't overcome or witnessed someone overcome and played a part in them overcoming any of these challenges. That's why you want a mentor. You want someone who's more experienced. You don't want someone who's the same as you. They can't coach and mentor you. They don't see the vantage point from the same position. I mean, from a different position. You want somebody who can see a little higher than you can see, a little bit further out as well. Okay. So let's now get back and let's talk about the white zone. We'll cover the white zone, and I want you to share with you why the white zone is important, how to use it. I won't go through all of the zones and its importance, but the white zone. Okay. Now, when we take a look at the white zone, when I'm speaking of zones, some of you probably didn't even hear it. You're wondering, what does he mean by zones? When I am building the business, there is a subconscious thought process that I have. Okay. A subconscious thought process. I'm looking at these zones here, and I'm a little, I think our color palette may be off because the second one looks green to me. That looks like a green zone. So next time we'll change that, make it bluer, more blue, if you will. I was like, where's the blue zone? Okay, it looks a little green to me. But anyway, working the zone, see, that's blue to me. All right. So working the zone means having a business building activities that you do within a specified period of time. Let me go ahead and share with you why this is so important. What's important about this? And when you're working the zone, certain activities, it is something that you want to practice in the beginning that you will become conscious of. Later on, when you continue to do it, you should hope that your group, it becomes an unconscious activity. You don't even think about it. You automatically know the first through the 10th is the white zone. The white zone is what we call massive exposure. Massive exposure, okay? What do we mean by massive exposure? In the very beginning of the month, your organization, I want you to imagine that you've got an army. And I want you to imagine that everybody is doing the same thing or thinking the same thing at the same time. How powerful would that be? Versus everybody all over the place. There's no systematic thought process about what's important now. Everything I do in the business focuses on the WIN formula, W-I-N. What's important now and what's important next. So if it's the 1st through the 10th, I am looking for massive exposure of my business. I am looking to take a focal point of my group, and everyone in my group should know that this is where 50% of the energy, 50 to 60% of the energy is focused. Not 100%, 50 is in massive exposure. Exposure meaning getting people who have not seen or heard or experienced a part of Ibüümerang, whatever part that may be, presentation, compensation plan, whatever it may be, and get them to be exposed to our business. Massive exposures. Massive exposures, okay? I want you to imagine that your business is very similar to a water hose. Let's call it let's just say, yeah, you got a big fire hose, okay? You got a fire hose. And throughout that fire hose, through the tube of that fire hose, those are going to be prospects coming through what we call the pipeline portion of the fire hose, okay? The more people you put through, the more pressure it's going to put on the fire hose. And the more pressure and the more consistency that you have of pushing prospects through, the more explosion you have at the nozzle, at the end of the fire hose. But what if you're only putting a little bit of people in there? At the end of it, you're going to have water dripping out. So you can have water dripping out, you can have water pouring out, or you can have water exploding out. How is it that they can take a fire hose and have and treat a 10-story tall building? It's because they've got so much pressure coming through that fire hose that pressure is allowing that water to actually reach a 10-story tall building. That's the mindset that you should have as you're going diamond, as you're going sapphire, ruby, whatever it is. Maybe in the beginning, your water is just spilling out. But when you get everybody on the same page and you put a system together and your group is on the same page and everybody's focused, you'll start to notice your water now is pouring and you're having success. And you'll get to the point where your water now is high pressured out and able to reach 2-story, 5-story, a 10-story building. That's what you want. How does this work? Personally exposing the business and using the system to expose the business. How can you use the system? I decide. Have you set a goal this month for how many people you're going to send an I decide to? My question is, did you have a plan for your team in the month of April? Did you? Do you know how many I decides are going to go out on your team? Have you talked to them? Have you gotten with your leaders to say, hey, listen, we've got a game plan for the month of April. How many I decides are you going to use? With your list, how many prospects are you going to have on your list that are going to get exposed in the white zone? What if you had a group of 10 people in your organization and they all created a brand new list of 25 new people? You got 250 people coming through your pipeline. How many of them are going to see an I decide? How many of them are going to get a one-on-one exposure? How many of them are going to attend a small group meeting? I'm watching meetings going on. I saw Sandy over in New Zealand showing me, says, hey, listen, we're going to keep using that office that they have and packing it out. I saw some other meetings, I think, going on in California at our Diamond, I don't know where those meetings were, but I comment, I love this. Big team meetings, big opportunity meetings, hotel meetings, conference calls, Zoom calls, video conferences. Those are ways that we expose the business. We expose the business that way. Sometimes we'll have guests come to larger events. Cesar just had a big event over in Mexico. And guess what? There were a lot of people who were guests who came. So you can do a large event, small event. There's so many different ways that you can expose the business in the white zone. Why is this so important? Because the white zone sets your month up for success. It sets your month up for success. And that's what we want to make sure that you are having is a systematic approach to the business. You say, well, HB, I know that there's a blue zone, and I know that the blue zone stands for massive sponsoring. Can I sponsor people in the white zone? Of course you can. Of course. That's not a problem whatsoever with you sponsoring people in the white zone. Okay? You can sponsor people in the white zone. Okay? So what I want to talk about is this here. Your prospecting is to your white zone. Why? Because bringing new prospects into the business is critical to having your pipeline full. So I always had my organization. Number one, I was always bringing on new people. I was always building new team members in depth. Why? Because as a leader, I am interested in the goals of the people that I bring, but my sole purpose as a leader, when I bring new people in, I want you to understand this as a builder, not the personal goals for the person. I want to bring people in for me to help them achieve their goals. That's first and foremost. After that, I have a strategy in my mind. My strategy that I have in my mind is a brand new person is coming to the business, and I'm building, and I've got 25 new people that came into the business. As a leader, I don't see it as 25 people. I see it as 2,500 new prospects to put through my pipeline. You say, well, how do you see that? Because the system teaches when you get a brand new person in, have them build a list of how many? 100 people. Well, in the month of March, 25 brand new people joined my organization. I'm counting on my leaders and myself to make sure that we get them to build that list of 100. And I want to get them coming through the pipeline before their emotions get the best of them and they quit. Or they don't process those people through the pipeline. Because what could I personally do with 2,500 leads? I, as a leader, I know what to do. I know that I should be setting up Zoom calls. I know that I should be booking home meetings. I know that I'm going to be doing one-on-ones. I may have been in the business for a year and don't have a lot of personal contacts, but I've got 2,500. What if half of them didn't create their list? I've got 1,250 brand new hot leads that people actually do know of that I'm going to process through my funnel. How else can I use the white zone and exposures? In the beginning, in the beginning of the month, I'll find out what leader is coming and where. Is Darren going to be in some city doing a meeting? Is Avinash going to be in some city? Are the Smekell brothers going to be in some city or state? Okay. Is Desi going to be traveling over to this particular area and building? And if so, here is what I do with my team. Here is how I work the business. Okay. And I want to make sure this makes sense to you as well. So if I find out that Darren is going to be doing an opportunity meeting, and let's say he's going to be in Chicago, and I don't have business in Chicago, I'm going to get with my team, I'm going to do a call, and I'm going to teach people, do a little training, a little 30-minute, 20-minute training on list building. And here's what I'm going to tell the team. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you would love to have a business in Chicago? Okay. Well, Darren, who is one of the presidential diamonds, is going to be in Chicago. He's going to be there doing an opportunity meeting. And so I want us to have a presence there. As your upline Ruby, I am actually going to be going in behind Darren, and I'm going to commit to go once a month to build that team. What I would like for us to do is for every one of us to put down as many people that we know in Chicago. And if you don't know people in Chicago, over the next 24 hours, here is a script that I want you texting to some people that you do know. Hey, Joe, this is HB. Joe, I'm calling you because I'm expanding my business in Chicago. I know we may have already established that there's no place for you in my business, but I really do need your help. Who do you know in Chicago that is actually uncertain about their economic future and would love to be in a position to turn every $100 bill that they have into $1,200 in 30 days. You know what Joe's gonna say? Me. Or Joe's gonna say, I know some people in Chicago. Okay. And so what you do is now you're building a list. You may get 2 people from Joe, 3 people from Joe, whoever it is, you're calling people. Guys, this is working. This is network marketing. You got to stop thinking that everything is going to come to you. So many people, they kill me with this, with this laziness of, well, I live in Denver, Colorado, and it's all I know is people in Denver, Colorado, and I'm through my list. I don't have so this business is not working for me. No, you didn't work the business. You didn't work the business. If I wanted to right now as a distributor, I would be going around when I go to events, here's what I would do. I would go around to the leaders at events, because leaders typically leave events and they start traveling so they can prepare for everything that they just get their groups prepared for everything they just learned. I'd be going around, hey, David, let me ask you a question. What's the next city you're going to be building in? Great. Hey, hey, Carlos, what's the next city you're going to be building in? Oh, great. Hey, Jessica, where's the next city you're going to be building in? Oh, great. Hey, Jay, where are you going to be building next? Hey, Luis and Fernando, I know you guys have been traveling. I know you just came from Chile. Where are you going next? Okay, great. Could you let me know? Because I'm going to have my team start working. What if you only found 5 people in Ecuador, but they were sitting in front of Luis and one became a diamond? Just one. Just one. See, instead of going to lunch with all your buddies, when you're serious about building, this is the work that I do. I'm going to the leaders. Hey, Daniel, Toledo, I know you're in Latin, but are you building? Are you going somewhere? Are you going to be doing a meeting somewhere? Find out where they're going to be building, get the information. I come back to my team. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, listen, we're going to play a game called Follow the Leader. That's what we're going to do. I've identified, out of our leaders, I've identified 3 who's got traveling schedules. I want us to build a business over there, use the system to make it easier. And I'm looking to raise you guys up, because I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 people who can actually help me work these particular markets. How do you build a business? I mean, that's how simple it really can be. And now my white zone, I'm pumping my pipeline up, not only in one area. I've got a pipeline going in Chicago. I've got a pipeline going in Denver. I've got a pipeline going over in Ecuador. I'll get on my social media if I needed to, and I won't say anything about Ibüümerang. You use your social media for likes, and none of you translate it into dollars. You can't take likes to the bank. I'll get on my social media and say to my people, because I don't inundate my people with everything I'm doing in my business. If you've done that, you've already ruined it. I get on my social media. Does anyone know people who have economic uncertainty in Ecuador? Anybody have any contacts? If so, please DM me. I've got something that we're expanding into the DM that could be a mutual benefit between the 3 of us. I'm not telling them Forex. I'm not telling them Ibüümerang. I'm not telling them travel. I am just looking for a list. And your black diamond, triple crown diamond is sitting right on your phone. It's sitting right on your social media. Most of us are just not being creative enough to go get it, because we want somebody to come. hey, I heard you're in Ibüümerang, and I heard you're looking for 5 more legs to go ruby or emerald so you can go blue diamond. I got 4 people. We're ready to sign up. We promise we're all going to go diamond so you can go blue diamond. I think that's what you guys are looking for sometimes. You're thinking that somebody, no, go get it. Go and get it. I don't want my Ibüümerang group to be all up in my social media with all of this posting and comments about because you're going to ruin my contact base. Or maybe you set a separate group. Have your Ibüümerang group, and then have a separate social media of people that's not in your Ibüümerang group, but like-minded people. So when you want to throw things out, you're respected for what you're talking about. You're not trying to bait and switch people. You're not pushing network marketing on them. You're being smart. What does it cost you to invite people over to a meeting in Ecuador? You can sit at home. Let Luis and Fernando do the work. Let them do the work for you. I mean, this is how I built. I'm telling you, I didn't know anybody in other countries. But I knew leaders were going to some places, and I would get my group. In a group, everyone knows somebody who's in another country, or in another city, or another state. And now I've got not only the white zone building, my goals are white zone exposures in this country, in this country, in this country. And I'd have a map with all the world map, and I would put a pin. Every time I had a new person that got qualified or that was receiving binary checks or dual team checks, I put a pin in that country, because I knew I had, not if I sign up someone, and now I've got someone over there. Wow, here's a point that I can expand on. I grew the business that way. And when I pay attention to them, I call them up. Hey, how you doing? This is your upline here. This is HB. And I'm calling you. Just want to let you know, hey, I recognize that you're dual team qualified. Welcome to the team. And they're like, oh, this is HB. Oh, they're all freaking out. Hey, listen, I know you're the first person in that particular area. My question is this: did you join because of the products, or did you join because you really wanted to build a big business? Okay. Well, first, welcome to the family. Welcome to the team. And the size of business that you say you want to build, I believe we can help you do that. Here are a list of things that I want to know, are you willing and capable of doing? Because if so, we'll make sure that we assign a team and a system around you that allows you to become the first diamond in your area. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Hey, listen, well, before we come out, we're not going to just fly out there. Could you put, 25, 30, 40 people on a Zoom call? Whatever the number, 15, 20, sure. And next thing you know, I've got a group. Took one person, and next thing you know, I got a group. And it goes from a group to I've got a little movement. I got a call that's going on. Then from a call that's going on, they're doing their own calls. Now I've got a meeting that's happening. Yeah, a meeting that's going on. Now I got from a meeting to a Super Saturday, a training that's going on. Now I'm flying out to go work with them and showing them how to expand and build a group. Guys, that is network marketing. But sitting around hoping that somebody's going to bring a lot of people just because you hope, doesn't work. It just does not work. But this is how I build the white zone. I build it local. Who's my local list? Who's my regional list? What's my national list and what's my international list for my group? What's my international list for my group? Now, throughout the white zone, have I been sponsoring people? Yes. Is my group sponsoring people? Yes. Is my group upgrading people? Of course. But the focal point of the white zone is to have everybody concentrated on the same thing so that the pipeline continues to grow. Do you think the pipeline will grow larger next month? Yes. Many of you, I'm watching you work so hard, you're going to tire yourself out because there's no system to what you're doing. If you do it this way, you'll notice your white zone next month Maybe you have 5,000 and then 10,000 because you brought in, 100 people and everybody's got 100 on their list. That's 10,000 prospects. And now, and I'm telling you, this is how the business grows. Anything else, this is why I'm explaining to you why you should do this. Not just telling you do the white zone, why I put the white zone in place. Because I wanted my group to be like an army. I wanted them to be thinking on the same level. When the blue zone comes on the 11th, everybody's thinking of massive sponsoring. So now, how many three-way calls do I have going on over in Ecuador? How many, three-way calls do I have going on over here? How many do I have going on over here? How many in the blue zone? How many sponsor? Now the focus is on sponsoring. If I'm running promotions, it's now I'm talking about the number of people that we're sponsoring. Well, why should I be doing a promotion then? Well, I looked and I saw that 800 people came through the white zone in my group. Some of them got started on initial, but we know everybody's not going to start initially at the meeting. And so what's going to happen? You'll start bringing in and three-way calls and second look meetings are taking place because everybody's focused. Does that mean that nobody's prospecting? No, people are still prospecting, but the focal point is the blue zone. 60, 50, 60% of the activity is blue zone activity. Some white zone activities going in. Why? Because you have brand new people. You're still doing presentations. You're still doing I decides. The focal point now, if you're running promotions, is blue zone activity, which is massive sponsoring. Your sponsoring numbers should go up now. You're putting more people into the business. And then in your gold zone, you've got massive volume. But because you've put the people into the business, now maybe you got them in at standby. Maybe you got them in at coach. Maybe you got them in at business. And now it's time to go back and say, how many came into the business in the last 60 days between standby, coach, business? It's the goal zone, baby. It's the goal zone. Let me do a distributor orientation. Let me do a call called the power of the pay plan and share with them the benefits of being at first class. They've seen a couple of events. It's opportunity for them to get upgraded. And now I do a massive upgrade party. And I'm watching the volume go through. I'm watching pins promote. And as pins promote, and I'm talking about now it's coming from enrollments. It's coming from those people who were subscribed the month before and now subscribed again. And now I've got all of them indoctrinated 2 months ago on CEO Circle. So now every time I get a CEO Circle member who just came into the business and it becomes CEO Circle within 90 days, I already know that that's coming along with 1,500 points. But I just had maybe 10 CEO Circle members who became CEO Circle members. They got 10 times 1,500, that's 15,000 points. I've got Sapphire volume already in the bank just with 10 people. Just with 10. Just with 10. Sapphire volume. I got 10 qualified CEO Circle members that joined the business in the last 90 days. They've gone CEO Circle. That Sapphire base volume is Sapphire. What happens in the next 60 days? I got 30 new CEO Circle members, 30 new ones, plus the 10. I've got 40. That's 60, I'm at 40. So I've got, if that's 40 and that's 1,500, what is that? That's 60,000. 60,000 base volume. Before I bring a new person in, before a new customer comes in, before regular subscriptions run, I've got a base of 60,000 in volume. Because why? I continue building my pipeline. I'm not out there doing this. I'm not out there just winging it every month. 60,000. Only 40 CEO Circle members? Do you get it? See, Now do you understand why some CEO circle, customer, that's not for me. You know, I'm a builder. Okay. Okay. I'm talking $1 million a week here. You wait until we unleash what we're going to unleash in this company at the next event. Wait. Then you'll go back and you'll say, it's one or two things you're going to say. Man, I wish I had just listened to HB. I wish I hadn't tore down the fences because I really didn't understand why he put them up. Or you're going to say, I'm so glad. I'm so glad I left those fences up. I'm so glad I bought into what he's talking about. It's one or two. I'm not going to judge you no matter what you say. But I do know that those people who listen to me, okay, will have a distinct advantage and they will be so happy because everything I'm telling you, I'm giving y'all all the clues. I'm telling you, I'm showing you guys how when I'm talking about, you know, really having some strong multiples, I'm not kidding around. Okay. I'm not kidding around. We're putting the money into the company so that these things are available to you. And the stuff that I'm talking about right now, very simple. Very, very, very simple stuff. Okay. Very simple stuff. Okay. And if you on board, diamonds, if you're on board, let us see you in the chats as well. If you're on board, this makes sense to you, your group needs to see you in the chats. They need to see your leadership. They need to see that you're leading from the front, not from the back. Okay. It's not cool to just sit in the back and just be the clapper in the back. Be out front. As a leader, my group always knew my presence. My group always knew, oh, yep, I can count on him. Look, I'm seeing him, I'm watching him. That was my leader. They never had to wonder, where's my leader? Okay. This is how you lead. You lead from the front, not from the back. Rubies, your group should be seeing you as well. Okay. I would make comments or I make myself present for two reasons. Number one, to make a contribution to an event or a meeting, and to let my team know you can count on me. HB has input. Your leader is leading. Okay. Your leader is leading. And that's what you want happening. That's what you want happening. What we're going to do is make this very, very simple and watch what takes place. I know many of you are wondering, well, are things going to be already translated? Yep, perfectly. That's not even going to be a thought process. And it's not going to be half launched. It's not going to be launched with, well, we've got 10,000 glitches. It's going to be right. Okay. And when I'm excited about it, because you know me, I don't get excited about a lot of stuff in terms of new things that I get excited about production. But this I'm fired up about. This I am fired up about. Definitely. Completely fired up. Okay. So white zone, this is the importance of it. It should be something that should be taught. And if you can see it clearly, if you can clearly see how this happens, why CEO Circle is so important, why CEO Corner is so important. You know, CEO Corner is how many, that would be what? 4,500 points. Is that correct? T. Gray, Mark, CEO Corner.
1 minute on it right now. Hold on. CEO Corner plus the person is a star achiever on their own is 4,050 points.
4,050. Okay. So now I'm looking at CEO Circle, and watch what we start to do with that and how we promote that. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, getting in there when we put it up, that's not good enough. We will only recognize you if you've got 90 days. We recognize everyone for the last one, even if you got there the first time, but you're not a CEO Corner or CEO Circle until you've got 90 days consecutive. Why? You say, well, why is HB doing that? Because our company is going to start rewarding consistency. 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 It's okay to have a rush of volume. What you're gonna see happen is consistent growth of volume. Okay, consistent growth of volume. Because what I want you looking at is, how did HB build it? How did HB build it? Mine was consistent volume over time. Consistent volume over time. Consistent volume over time. Okay. And we're doing a great job now, even with the runs that we do. But you're gonna see, I'm gonna be teaching and training the leaders. Okay, guys, I know that works for a month. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to have it every month. Show you how to have it every month. Okay. Because let me share with you what works. Momentum plus numbers plus leaders with healthy self-images. And how do you have a healthy self-image? When you look at your business and you're consistently proud of your results. There's nothing stronger than that. Okay. I don't want you up and down. I don't want you here and then here. I don't want you up and then down, up and then down. I want you looking and I want you saying, wow, it's growing. Every month I'm getting a little bit better. Every month I'm getting a little bit better. I don't want you going here and then, okay, I got to come back here and I got to come back here and I got to come back here and then I got to come. That's a roller coaster ride. And I want to share this with you. Remember, this is 30 plus years. I don't know if there's anybody on this call who's got more successful years of experience. I'm telling you, you want to do this. It's okay if you do this sometimes. It's not a criticism. That's not bad. But here's what you want to get to. Okay. And what I'm sharing with you, it's the recipe. It's the recipe. How to get there and how to do it. We're making our product even better. We're making our experience better with how we're going to release the next phase of Elevate. We have made with our new partners, we've made our iGo platform very appealing as well. And it's very energetic and very exciting. That is a good thing as well. And I can tell you as a company, now the things that we're going to be doing, just not for Elevate and for iGo, but for Ibüümerang as a company, for the field. We're gonna put some stuff in your hands that, you know, it's going to be lightning in a bottle for you, and you'll be able to see these numbers and you'll be able to watch, because whatever you can see, you can achieve. The problem and the challenge that many of us have is that we don't see our success. We can't even visualize it. So you don't move towards anything that you can't see. We're going to put it right there in front of your face. And I promise you, the way we're going to do it, the style of which we're going to be doing it, it's off the charts. Because it's all that I've done. It's how I built the business. I used the white zone. It was critical. It started my month off critical. Does that mean that every single day in the white zone, there's a white zone call? No. But I got my group on the white zone until they knew it. Subconsciously, they already knew it was a white zone. I saw exposures go up through my business like crazy. And then the blue zone was crazy. And then the red zone, I did twice as much volume in the red zone that I did in the white and the red and the blue zone. I mean, in the gold zone, I did twice as much in the gold zone than I did in the white and in the blue zone. And your business really shouldn't be any different. Okay. If you buy into the things that we have here, there, if you just utilize what's here, we have enough that's here from a recognition standpoint that it gets the lower level, the mid-level, the beginner, the lower level, the mid-level, and the high levels have enough recognition that we can use those carrots to really grow. I'm proud, so proud of these diamonds right now who are jumping on the bandwagon with CEO Circle. Why? Because it's a way of you showing your group, you know what? You can count on me. You can count on me. You can count on me. And where we're going to be going with CEO Circle, CEO Corner, just watch what happens, ladies. Remember, just 40 people on CEO Circle. That's 60,000. 40 people in CEO Corner is 160,000 in base volume. Base volume. You guys remember me bringing my friend onto this call a while back? Talked about how many customers they brought in that month. She's making $300,000 a month. I forgot to mention to you, she's got one person in her group who's making $1 million a month. Forgot to mention that part. And she brags about this person making more than her. She brags about it. All because simplicity. And that person in her group, guess who they calls for mentorship when they want to get to the next level? She's not in our Ibüümerang. She's not in our company. I can show you text messages, HB, whatever I can do to just, if I can please get 5 minutes of your time, whatever I need to do to earn it. I'm like, girl, you're at $400,000 a month. What do you mean? Yes, I'll help you. Talk to. Okay. And so what I'm saying is you got it. You have everything. You have to look nowhere else, but what you have to do is you have to stop getting sidetracked by so much of what you see outside or so much of what you see somebody else does. Okay. Keep it simple. I'm telling you, I'm quarterbacking this thing so that everybody has the opportunity to have everything and more that I've experienced in network marketing. You want $1 million a month? It's available. You want $1 million a week? It's available. You want $10,000 a month, $10,000 a week? It's available. If you haven't done it, I have. I made $10,000 a week. I know how to do it. I know how to sustain it. Okay. I know how to do that. And there's no reason why I would put something in place that's going to work contrary to you being able to achieve these goals. One of the things I'm really excited about is me being out there in the field as well. I'm going out there, as I mentioned to you guys, I'm going to be going to Atlanta. And I know we haven't put it out there yet, but we are going to put something together pretty cool in Atlanta. I'm not going to announce that right now, but I also will be going out to the Czech Republic. And I want to talk to you about this right now because we are going to do it so big in the Czech Republic. We are going to light it up like a Christmas tree in the Czech Republic when I go out there, that I am just beside myself right now. The brothers have been doing such an incredible job, and Mikel and Andre, and then all of the other diamonds as well. I can tell you right now, I know that they left our last event that we had, Accelerate, and there was a difference I saw in them. There was a difference I saw with their group as well. And I was concerned. I asked, hey, listen, did they get it? Did they really understand me? Because, many didn't speak English, and they got it. And they're putting the work in. And the results are showing. And so my goal, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to put gasoline on the fire that's already building. I'm looking for so many other areas to go to. I can't wait. I'm refueled right now to be wherever it is that I'm deserved to be. And I'm going to be choosing areas that I'm going to go. and I'm going to light it up. I am going to light some areas up, and I'm really, really excited about it. But what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, at this event, we can put it up. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be in the Czech Republic for that. We're going to start. Say that again.
We got a video.
Oh, we have a video. Awesome.
I wrote the book on developing leaders. I am the book on developing leaders. I'm going to share with you the practical, real steps that I have taken, and not only that I've taken, that I have taught over and over again, that I have evidence that this actually does work.
I want you to commit to yourself that you will do what's necessary. This is built for you. This is about sharing and learning how to become, as Mr. Holton Buds would say, a good steward of your money.
All right, there we have it. We're going to have a mastermind, a leadership training, and the boot camp that we'll have there. And you know, I went soft on the leadership. You know, they asked me, this is AHB, you know, what should we price this at? And I went soft, but I made it $99 because you have a boot camp there as well. But I can tell you one thing: the leadership training is going to be off the charts. That's going to be a one-day leadership training that we'll have. And that is open to sapphires and above on the mastermind that we'll have. And then we'll have the boot camp. And ladies and gentlemen, I will also be there present at the boot camp. First boot camp that I'll actually be present at. I've never been present to speak at any of the boot camps. No, that's not true. I think I spoke at the one in Dubai, but I will definitely be there on all of these events here. And I want you to be there. We will have Czech, Spanish, French translation, and English. So I always look at, there's 4 of them, so English as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I recommend go ahead, go to myiboomerang.com, get your tickets for that if you're going to be at that event, at that mastermind, and at that boot camp. We're going to light it up. This is the biggest one. It's all with the number of tickets. It's already the biggest one ever. And as I told you, we're going to make it even bigger than bigger. Okay. So we haven't even come close to the goal that we're going to reach yet, but we're going to dominate this and watch what happens into this event and watch what happens coming out of this event. With all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring my partners in success back onto the call. Real quick, if there's anything that I missed, let me know now. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say congratulations in advance to all of you. And let's go out here. Let's make the white zone work. And let's go out there and kick some butt here in the month of April. Anything that I missed out on, T-Gray, that neneeds to be mentioned, Mark?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, you totally fired it up. You crushed it. Let me just provide the folks with just a little bit of clarity. You're going to see a few different versions of that Prague boot camp in your back office. For now, choose the one that applies to you. If you're already first class, just choose the plain one. If you're coach, choose the one that upgrades you to first class. If you're business, choose the one that upgrades you to first class. If you're standby, choose the one that upgrades your first class. Usually we have it set up so that you can only see the one that applies to you. Our tech team missed a trick on this one, but they will get it fixed. But in the meantime, don't wait. Just choose the one that applies to you. Leaders, listen to me. If you have people that are standby, have them choose the standby upgrade. Coach, choose the coach upgrade. Business, choose the business upgrade. Don't miss your opportunity to upgrade to first class with this boot camp.
Awesome.
And by the way, crush that training. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Hey guys, let's go out there. We got some butts to kick. Let's go kick it. Month of April, we're full effect.
Are we ready?
Boom.
Nope.
Absolutely.
Oh, we gotta do a picture.
There
Love
we
you
go.
guys.
There we
All
go.
right, guys.